Hi, my name is Carolee Gearhart, and I am the CRO for Wellhub. So my little guy is 16 now, but for his whole life, I've been the sole breadwinner for my family. And so this meant I was always going to have to find a way to make work and motherhood work together. I vividly remember some of the challenges before, during, and after pregnancy. Probably the most challenging element for me was after my little guy was born, and he was little. He was born 2 months premature. I had an emergency C-section, and he spent the first 4 weeks of his life in the neonatal intensive care unit. And I returned to work 8 weeks after he was born. So, given how premature he was, it was really important to me to try and make sure that he had breast milk, really in the hopes of improving his weakened immune system. And the doctors told me it would be ideal if I could do this for at least the first 6 months. But I'm sure any of you who have had a young child can imagine the challenge that this really presented to me. My commute to and from the office was at minimum an hour each way, usually an hour and 20 minutes. And I also frequently traveled for my job. So work was not well set up for a woman who needed to pump milk, which was really critical for me. I needed to save it to ensure I could pump ahead enough to make sure he'd have milk for the following day. In the end, I set my alarm every 3 hours in the night, would wake up and pump a couple bottles each time that I woke up, and was super diligent about trying to pump 2 bottles for every one he consumed so I could freeze the extra and have enough to cover for the time when I knew I was going to be traveling, which was going to make it basically impossible to keep up with enough pumping to produce enough milk for him. So, ultimately I did pump, and I froze enough to get him through 6 months in about 4.5 months. When I look back on it, though, in this period, the travel, the work wasn't make or break. It wasn't critical to the business that I do it in that way, although doing it in the way I needed to almost broke me. And so I think this is my real takeaway for companies, would be workplaces that are willing to offer more flexibility during times like this, particularly in those early stages. You're going to retain a ton more employees, but not only that, you're going to have a super loyal, drive a ton of goodwill and gratitude for that mother and from her family to the company. So that would be my recommendation.